Hello and welcome to Wasted Plotential, where we discuss the wasted potential of our favourite plotlines. I have a number of issues with Leon's campaign in Resident Evil 6. I've already covered Chris's campaign in the Jill episode, so go watch that after you're done here. Unlike that episode though, I'll be keeping Leon as the star of his campaign, which would allow him to actually meet Jill for the first time. Now I'm sure lots of you would expect me to start off by fixing Leon's character back to his quippy Dante-esque Resi 4 self. That would require me to agree that RE6 broke him in the first place. Before you crucify me, allow me to explain why you're wrong. My reading of Resi 4 Leon is that it's a facade. After he spent the entirety of his last game not being taken seriously by anyone, being bossed around and held at gunpoint by Marvin and Kendo, ignored by Claire, Sherry and Ada when he tries to take charge of the situation, he now tries to project this aura of a cool, suave secret agent like you'd see in an action movie. Unlike fellow Redgrave derivative Dante, this doesn't come naturally to Leon. He's just good at pretending it does. But there are times when he tries too hard to force a quip and comes off kinda dumb. And notably, he doesn't act this way around Ada and Krauser, the two people in the game who already know him and would thus see right through his facade, so it's all business with them. Resi 6 then is Leon dropping the act after it really did him no favours at all throughout 4, and or because he's matured enough in the 9 years since to realise that he doesn't need the facade. It's one of the reasons why, cool bit of characterization though it was, I'm not really upset that he's most likely not going to be that way in Ream Fork. One change I will make to this Leon is how a few early scenes make him come off like he's the new guy despite having dealt with 2 outbreaks in the main series and an extra 3 in spin-offs by now. Him struggling to shoot Adam makes sense, but the way he pleads with his zombified friend can easily come off less like Leon is struggling to accept what is happening and more like he doesn't know that Adam is gone, to the point that he almost gets Helena killed through his hesitation. Second, the scene where Leon sees some guys in danger over security cameras and wants to go and help despite how fruitless it is, and has to be reined in by the more realistic Helena, presumably to give her some moral ambiguity against Leon's more heroic traits. Even though this would make far more sense to swap the roles and have the more seasoned Leon have to convince the naive newbie of how things work. I'd also have whoever it is try to act long before the zombies reach the guys and start eating them because obviously it's impossible to save them now. That was pretty dumb. But that's about it. So then, what am I going to change aside from that? Rather than Leon himself, it's pretty much everyone around him that I'll be changing instead. See, Resident Evil has a nasty habit of introducing new characters for one game and then doing little to nothing more with them. One-off characters are not inherently a problem, of course, but when even major recurring characters only recur occasionally because the series is obsessed with 2 characters in particular, this feels like much more of an issue than it does with other series. And there are plenty of opportunities to have recurring characters where we have a character that is functionally the same as an existing character, but they're new for some reason. Parker from Revelations comes to mind immediately. Big burly man who's looking out for Jill? He's just Barry Burton without the family drama. I've even heard the role was supposed to go to Barry originally. And Parker's only appearance outside of this game is the Heavenly Island manga where he teams up with Claire, which is a similar trajectory to Barry anyway. So why bother making a new character who will have only 2 appearances instead of giving those appearances to a beloved established character who also only has a handful of appearances? A more relevant example is Helena Harper. She is a government agent with long brown hair, voiced by Laura Bailey, who is working with Leon and who is motivated by her sister's connection to a bioterror plot. Between 4 and 6, Leon appeared in the CGI film Degeneration, where he works with Angela Miller, a Harvardville police officer with long brown hair, voiced by Laura Bailey, who is motivated by her brother's connection to a bioterror plot. Aside from Helena having a bit more of an edge to her, they're basically the same character. Some people might argue against featuring a character from a spin-off movie because you shouldn't need to have watched that film to know who she is, but Leon already knows Helena to some extent by the start of the campaign anyway, and then you have Chris and Piers who have been working together for years before their campaign starts, so nothing really changes by taking a character with pre-established history with Leon and making them Leon's partner, aside from that history being something that you can actually track down and experience for yourself. Of course, you can't just give Angela Helena's exact role, but not much really needs to change. Now she's gone from cop to government agent just like Leon, deepening their connection. This also creates a greater rift between the two when Leon learns that she was part of the bioterror plot that took the life of his good friend Adam. It's now a deep betrayal for Leon. As for Deborah, she's not Angela's sister like she is with Helena, since there's no way Angela and Curtis having a sister wouldn't come up during Degeneration, given how much the plot revolves around their family history. Instead, she'd be Angela's best friend, partner, or girlfriend. The latter is unlikely for 2012, but a partner works, given how Leon's campaign sees them both losing someone close to them due to Simmons' machinations, and Leon coming to forgive Helena for her role in that as they work together to survive and bring Simmons to justice. I have another change I'd make here. President Adam Benford is Leon's close friend. Presumably, this relates to Leon saving the president's daughter Ashley in Resi 4. Oh, spoilers for the remake, I guess. But that is President Graham, not Benford. I wonder if the team wrote the story under the idea that this was the same president who became close to Leon for saving his daughter, only to realise that would be difficult to make work since a US president can only serve 2 4-year terms, and Resi 4 is set 9 years before this. But he could have gotten re-elected in 2012 after losing or even passing on the 2004 election to protect Ashley. That, or he's now the former president who is speaking on college campuses now that he is out of office. Turning Adam Benford into Adam Graham does a lot for the player's investment in Leon's plight, because we have a connection to him through Ashley and the implications of what our actions as Leon in Resi 4 did to lead to this friendship. As is, Adam's first scene is his zombified death, and we get a flashback of him calling Leon his friend later. We can further develop this by replacing the existing tutorial. Instead of a flash forward to the end of the game that forces the player to do one of the most annoying sections of the game twice, we instead flesh out Leon's introduction. He's walking through the campus with Adam and is introduced to Helena/Angela on screen instead of skipping over that. The two go to investigate a shady figure and the player learns how to run here instead of forcing walking on the player every time they replay Leon's first chapter, even though they could have finished Chris and Jake's entire campaigns by then. They catch the perp who is infected by an implant or something to keep them from talking. The two deal with them and run back as they hear a commotion. Adam has already been bitten by the time they find him and they rush him to the dean's office, where Adam turns and Leon is forced to shoot him.
Resident Evil.
Maybe we have the two search for Ashley, who is on the campus too, and help her get to a chopper that only has room for her, forcing the two to find another way while she's evacuated safely. Leon of course has to tell her that he couldn't save her father, just to twist the knife and help the player better empathise with Leon and see if they can forgive his partner after discovering the circumstances that brought her into this. So with these changes, Leon gets to show off his experience to a relative newcomer. Said newcomer now has deeper ties to the setting and to Leon, making her part in the bioterror attack more impactful for Leon, and the tutorial isn't a pointless and ultimately non-canon retread of one of the worst parts of the game. And this isn't a change for Resi 6 itself, but Vendetta having Leon become a depressed alcoholic as a result of some brand new off-screen terror attack he failed to prevent just baffles me. Make it the result of his experiences in 6 instead. He lost his best friend and over 70,000 people, as he himself puts it. So have the states he needs to work himself out of in this film be a result of events the audience has experienced themselves as Leon. And also, don't have him kill innocent people with explosive car crashes during the dog chase scene. How anyone thought that was a good idea is beyond me. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is why Resident Evil 6 is awesome by the Gaming Brits, because Resi 6 is a really good game and I'm tired of dumb people who don't understand that.